Homelander, leader of the Seven, strongest superhero, or should I say supervillain in the boys universe, acquired his strongest power yet, the V1, which amplified him, and then was defeated by a bunch of weaklings who were weaker than him even before he ever got stronger. That's right, it was an underwhelming finale. But what if Homelander fought someone who is the underdog in their universe? What if Homelander fought the armored Avenger, Iron Man? Tony Stark, the billionaire playboy who fights gods in a suit of armor. How would this affect each other? How would they fight? Let's dive into this video. And if you like content like this, please be sure to like, share and subscribe if you haven't already, as it helps out the channel and I'd really appreciate it. With that out of the way, let's dive into this video. Iron Man and Homelander. Now Iron Man, we'll have to limit him to his phase 1 showings, whereas for Homelander we'll have to specifically choose him at this peak like we already discussed, so after he acquires V1 but before the ending of season 5. So now that we have our versions set, we can start discussing how strong they are, how fast they are, how powerful they are in general. Of course, for Iron Man, we'll start with him. He built his first suit in a cave with a box of scraps and then built a nanotech suit by the end of his life. Of course, he has made suits to fight gods, suits to fight Hulk, suits to fight characters even like Thanos, so we obviously cannot use a version of Iron Man that powerful. Therefore, we'll have to limit him to his phase 1 showing like we already discussed. So let's begin with some of his phase 1 feats now. For instance, in Iron Man 2, while fighting a bunch of hammer drones here, Iron Man, even while dominating, decided to end it quickly by using his turn and burn laser system, which has a direct statement calling it a 200 petawatt laser. Now this is impressive because that is enough energy to level a city. Basically, he has a nuke concentrated out of his suit that he can shoot in a beam. So he has city level attacks in the Mark 6 already. Later on in the Mark 7, he has these lasers but they are rechargeable, meaning he can spam these attacks if need be. Of course he doesn't do it, but he realistically can. Iron Man in his earlier suits could also perform building leveling attacks and feats, while his suit also generates building level energy, with his Unibeam being said to be his strongest attack would upscale his lasers, which you already agreed are city level. Now, Iron Man doesn't seem that strong yet, but this is just his earliest suits, the Mark 4, the Mark 6, not even the Mark 7, which is where his true scaling starts to shine. Like for instance, in the Avengers, Iron Man casually fights and can stagger characters like Thor, who obviously are pretty powerful, with Thor charging a lightning blast and then striking Iron Man with it. A normal character would obviously lose, but Iron Man here tanks that lightning blast. Said lightning blast can casually destroy Leviathan armor, something Iron Man's lasers cannot penetrate. And before you say, oh, prove its burning Leviathan armor, Thor damaged it. Well, in the adaptation comics of this film, we clearly see Thor's lightning burn away at Leviathan armor. Now pause and read if you want, but this is basically where his casual lightning would scale if we go into the extreme numbers. Now obviously, mountain level Iron Man seems pretty crazy, but this isn't the only evidence for mountain level Iron Man. And before you say, oh, I'm wanking, this is outliers, his arc reactor is said to be 1,000 times stronger, and if we apply this to his strength, then he could potentially be large island level, which is crazy to think about. And this isn't even the best thing. Tony's first suit is said to be his strongest weapon, upscaling the Jericho missiles, which are mountain level. This is not the only thing, by the way. He has tanked Jericho missiles himself in tie-in comics, and his armor is fitted with all Stark Industries weapons, which should include the Jericho missiles, as it has been said in the script. Now, even without the script, we have multiple showings for mountain level Iron Man, so it seems consistent, right? That Iron Man can be mountain level at the very least. But let's look at speed for instance, because we haven't really talked about how fast he is, and a lot of people like to say Homelander would speed blitz him. Now, I have already made a whole video about speed in the MCU and you can check it out, but to keep it brief here, Iron Man fights someone named Whiplash in the Iron Man 2 film, which you probably remember or don't. I can understand he clearly deflects Iron Man's lasers if you see here. That would mean he scales to their speeds. He clearly said to be deflecting them as the guide states, and his unibeam and by extension repulsors are said to be made of light energy, which constitutes for light speed reactions. Now, this clearly means that he has FTL combat reaction speeds, since his attacks come from the same RT, which is not that crazy to think about if you watched my previous video on speed, but I think that's pretty clear on where Iron Man would scale this time. And if you really just want a summary right now of where I scale, you can clearly see Iron Man is going to be pretty powerful this video. But can Homelander survive this? Let's look at it here. Now, Homelander's scaling is few and far in between because he does not perform that many feats in terms of his power, strength and speed. With him having a lack of speed feats, so we'll have to generally scale him of other characters, and of course you all probably know why he's the strongest in the verse, and if you need proof for that, I can provide that as well, which as you can see, he has been directly said to be the strongest soup on earth even before acquiring V1, which is directly stated to be 10 times more potent than Compound V, meaning it realistically could give 10 times more power, speed, strength and other stats. This is pretty apparent with how Homelander before V1 said he was even stronger than Soulja Boy, with Soulja Boy being close to him and other soups all scaling below him. If you look at his fight with Soulja Boy for instance, even while initially caught off guard, he starts clashing with Soulja Boy and is eventually able to overpower him, with him having the upper hand and almost killing him if not for Butcher showing up and then 1v2ing him with Temp V. Of course, Homelander gets the upper hand again and was about to kill Butcher, but then guess what? Someone else shows up and everyone just starts ganging up on Homelander again. Even with 2 soups, 3 soups, they barely pin him down and then Homelander just flies off realizing their plan. So it's pretty clear here, Homelander obviously upscales. Now for speed, Soulja Boy has reacted to Butcher's lasers after they've already fired, so faster than light reactions would also scale to Homelander here. And if you want to take a look at his strength, characters like Mauve, who are inferior to Homelander, and even the likes of A-Train have pulled multiple building level feats if not higher. With Homelander being the strongest, he would obviously upscale, so Mark 3, Mark 4 scaling would practically be a one shot for him. Now, if we were to look at his other stronger statements, he has been compared to a neutron bomb and has been said to be city level, with no weapons on Earth being capable of harming him. This is pretty impressive because that would imply he is nuke level, city level, however you want to call it. But the fact is, Homelander's best feat comes from Season 5 right after acquiring V1. When Homelander fires his heat vision into the night sky, it creates a giant light show, which while super cool also has really cool scaling because some calcs put it at country level, which is crazy because it can be seen across the world. This image is from Greece. Now, what International has confirmed these were being seen across the world, and some other scales have debunked country level Homelander by pointing out its flaws and re-evaluating the feat to be at the level of mountain level, which is where Iron Man's physicals do scale. But even if we do grant Homelander country level lasers and say that his lasers do scale to his physicals, which is pretty outlandish, but even if we do say that, there is still this factor to consider which a lot of people would usually just ignore. That being Homelander's battle IQ, skill, experience and other stuff that would impact this battle. Like Homelander has been caught off guard numerous times. Here, where Homelander, while fighting someone much weaker than him, where he has the strength and speed advantage, is getting pressed by someone who is weaker and slower than him. Not only this, this is a very clear skill gap here, as you can see. Through precision and technique, Mauve can actually hurt Homelander, making him bleed. So what about Iron Man, someone who is stronger and faster than Mauve, being the closest thing Homelander would ever have to fight? And because of this, even with equal stats like mountain level, physicals and speed all being equal, the skill gap, the intelligence gap and experience all would be in favor of Iron Man. And even if we grant Homelander the strength advantage against Iron Man still has equal speed, better intelligence, battle skills and experience against stronger foes, all weighing in his favor. So ultimately, in a battle against Homelander, who is usually a brute force fighter, who does not fight people as skilled as him and eventually just resorts to overpowering, would lose to Iron Man. Not because of some prejudice bias, but because even with a strength advantage, he is not skilled enough to actually fight someone like Iron Man. Ultimately, I have to declare that Iron Man is the winner of this death battle. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you like content like this, please like, share and subscribe and have a nice day ahead. Bye bye.